welcome to Boom Elevators. I'm Connor,
And I'm Ben.
and today we are going to be deconstructing something that has long since been a topic that we've been thinking and enjoying ourselves. And that is the topic of minions, as you can see by our promotional material here today.
Exactly. As you remember from last episode, hopefully, because you watched it, we were going to
Or
talk
you
about...
listened.
Yeah, or you listened. You watched or listened. Either option is wonderful. But yeah, we were going to talk about my relationship to minions and why people keep getting me minions presents all the time for no reason.
Let me just add real quick that this is definitely, you think you know the truth of this matter, but I guarantee you that you do not know the actual truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. That is our goal today, to bring to you the truth.
So let's start with just what are your feelings on the first Despicable Me movie?
Okay, first of all, I'll preface all of this with I actually think all the movies are amazing. They're all really funny. Action is good. Characters are amazing. Some of the minions are a little forgettable, obviously, since there's like a million of them. But you have to try to remember their names, just like all those Star Wars stands out there who know all the names of every clone.
Like those memes that are just like name every clone. And
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, yeah. I think they're really good too. I agree. And if you're watching the video version, this picture is gonna post. It's gonna show up here. If you're listening, I'll describe it to you. On the right is me as Vector. In the middle is Ben as probably Kevin. And then on the other side is my sister Cameron, but she had a really tight ponytail at that day, so we got photoshopped into Gru by your brother, Eric.
Yes, he's very good at Photoshop.
Shout out to Eric.
Well, he's not really good, but he dabbles, and it's funny
He
stuff.
does funny stuff. So I think, I don't know if the gift giving started with this, but for your birthday,
it was your fault.
It definitely probably is. So one year, Ben was talking about how he really liked the Lego Minions Rise of Gru sets.
Yes, which is awesome, by the way. We
It's
could probably put a picture.
I'll put a picture
as
there.
well.
We'll also describe it. It's the one that has, like, you Lego build the two minions.
Yeah, you
and
build the
can
minions.
open them
They're
up.
about like this tall.
A foot tall, probably.
Yeah,
like 8,
yeah, kind
6
of.
inches.
Bob is a little shorter because he's shorter. Obviously, he's the one on the far side with the teddy bear.
Yeah, but I got him that Lego set because I found it on sale at like a secondhand store. I was like, oh, this is good. I brought it over, and then it was built and put while you were living at home in your house.
Yeah. That's why we don't have it here today.
The issue, however, is that I think that gave your siblings the go-ahead to say that you only like Minions gifts.
Yeah.
Anytime you get a gift.
From that point on, my family every Christmas and birthday has got me something Minion related.
That's actually freaking true.
Even if I tell them not to, I'm like, no, please don't. Like, I don't want this. And then they're like, oh, guess what? We got you another Minions thing. Isn't it your favorite? I'm like, yes, thank you.
So basically, the moral of the story is that it is true. It's true that you like
It's
Minions.
true that
you're a fan.
I am a fan.
But it's also true that, like, it's not every gift doesn't need to be a Minions present.
Exactly.
Not to say that you're not grateful for all of the plethora of Minions memorabilia that you have.
Yes, I do think they're funny.
For the people watching, the calendar is from me, and then the little plush guys.
The
who
plush
are
guys were from last Christmas. I was the only one who got these in my stocking. Everybody else got cool stuff. I got these. Not to say that they're not cool. I actually think they're really funny. They're plushies.
Well, and then you have.
And then I got both of these for my birthday. I got this one from Audrey. It's a little pirate minion. And then this one's a Lego keychain.
It's
Of Otto, yeah. Otto.
Yeah. So basically, this is all a PSA to say Ben is still a Minions fan. However,
I'm a fan, but I don't need more physical reminders.
Yes, there's plenty of stuff. The Trolls World Tour stuff is you're yet to have too much of that, but who knows?
Yeah. We might do another segment on that.
We might just talk
eventually.
about the whole movie because that
That's
we have
true.
some very strong opinions on that movie, and we'll leave it for that. But just stay tuned. So yeah, we wanted to open up talking about Minion stuff. For today's episode, we're going to be going over, we're going to be reviewing Justice League War, which is next after the universe resets and the Flashpoint paradox of the DC animated movies. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to do another suit deconstruction. I haven't told you what it is, but I think you're gonna like this one.
Amazing.
So let's start out. But so, do you want to give a little preface of like kind of a brief overview of Justice League War? I'm gonna go get a water bottle.
Okay. Yeah, so Justice League War is basically this is the first time that the Justice League meets each other and they all come together to fight Darkseid, who is trying to invade the Earth and turn all the humans into parademons, terraform the Earth. So it's similar to Apocalypse. For those of you that don't know, Apocalypse is like, it's a planet that Doomsday lives on, not Doomsday, Darkseid lives on, and it's like kind of like Mustafar on Star Wars. Basically, there's like fire and lava everywhere. It's basically like hell.
It's like space hell. That's
Yeah.
what it's like. But this movie really kind of serves to introduce the entire Justice League, and it's very the first Avengers-y. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
it has a lot of similarities with that, but also it's based off of the New 52 comic, the first Justice League. It's called Justice League Origin, and there are some changes I like, some that I don't. But let's go ahead and get into it. So it starts out talking about Batman as if he's like a monster. Like, there are no pictures of him. And all of these superheroes have lived in this universe for a while. This is just our introduction as the audience to them.
Yeah, exactly. And like this, like the first scene is Green Lantern. He's flying around Gotham, and there's like this big like dark figure that's hooded and kind of has like spikes and whatever ears. So he tries to fight it. It turns out it's a parademon, not Batman.
Yeah, I think it's fun because no other parademons wear like a dirty rag. It's just kind of meant to freak out people in that universe. But then
Batman shows up and shows the parademons who's boss.
But but they talk about him like he's like Bigfoot or like a Mothman.
Yeah, every time he shows up, all the other heroes are like, "What? He's real?
Yeah.
Batman's real?"
It's pretty. I like the idea that like Batman isn't known as this vigilante. He's known as just a monster that lives in the shadows.
Exactly.
I
I also love like throughout the whole movie, he does not give a crap what people say or think about him at all. Like the whole movie, Green Lantern is like saying stuff. He's like, "Dude, you're so weird. Why do you do this stuff?" And he's like, "Okay, when are you gonna like start helping?"
No, yeah. So I was just gonna talk about Green Lantern. I like his suit first of all, but I also like all of his constructs. I think
I
the
put that one
animation
too. The constructs are really fun and creative, I thought.
Yeah, no, the animation for this one is really great. I think it does. I like the design for Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Shazam, Cyborg.
Yeah, all the costumes were great.
I don't totally love Darkseid. I think he's a little too blue for me.
Okay.
I could have done with less armor. Just
Okay,
give me the metal loincloth and his little tank top and his like chin strap head thing, and that's all I need.
I wasn't a huge fan of Cyborg, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I wrote it down when he first becomes Cyborg. It's really weird. He's just like this really clunky metal guy.
He's a big... Okay, that's interesting.
I think there's better versions.
Let's get into that. We'll get into that eventually. I want to chat about Batman for a little bit. I think the bat suit is like iconic. I really like the gray and black. I like the ears that go just bend backwards a little bit. It's very unique. I have to say though, Batman's actual introduction, like they show the parademon in his like robes or whatever, and you're like, oh shoot. Then you see Batman. He just starts talking. Like it's not really a flashy introduction. I would have liked a little bit more there. Let's see. So we're just going to go through it like chronologically, and we'll talk about different heroes and stuff as we get there.
Perfect.
I think it was, so the parademons look, usually they have like the goggles and the bug wings, and I like this redesign. I think it matches the aesthetic of this kind of more gritty world.
They look more like monsters than like goons.
Well, they don't even have eyes. They got rid of the goggles. I also think the scene where they show how parademons are made, it's pretty brutal. Like,
they put the humans in the pods and then like turn them into goo basically, and then rebuild them as a parademon.
Yeah, they're really nasty. They kind of like become like, you haven't seen Stranger Things, but like the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
They become goo, and then they put armor on them, and then it's like now you're just a monster forever. Yeah, but I like, okay, so about, I like how I like how parademons look. Green Lantern, this is just a little suit design tip from me. I think some things in a superhero suit are pretty iconic that you shouldn't get rid of. Like you wouldn't do Batman without his cape or ears or the bat symbol. If it was just the main Batman. For me, Green Lantern's white gloves are a must. I think you have to... Yeah. It's like just the simplest detail, but Injustice, the first one, proved that it can always look cool. It doesn't look weird. Mm-hmm. So I like the white gloves. I'm glad they included it.
I actually didn't notice if they had it or not.
Well,
but if they did it, then I guess it was good because I didn't mind.
I'm very passionate. Liz, there are two things that you can't mess up for me personally. Don't get rid of Green Lantern's white gloves. Do not get rid of Flash's lightning bolts on his arms and his boots. And that's it. That's all I ask. I don't ask much, but that's it.
All the rest of it can be...
All the rest of it, you can change it all. I don't care. No, but I think it was an interesting choice to start in a lived-in DC universe without a lot of backstory for these heroes. But being a DC fan, I definitely understand the origins, how and every one of them already exist in the universe. Like, we get to see a lot of them pretty experienced in what they're doing.
Yeah, all of them, none of them give any backstory, really, except for Cyborg. He becomes Cyborg in this movie.
And it's based off of so this comic ran, the Justice League Origin New 52, that came out, but there were several issues of Green Lantern, Flash, Batman, all before that. Yeah. So in the comics, you had a good feel for who these characters were. And so the movie kind of just adapts that storyline, but changes a couple of things.
Okay.
And I like the Flash, but for me, he really wasn't in it a lot.
Yeah. He didn't say much either. I knew from watching the movie, all I got was that he was already friends with Green Lantern, and that was about it.
If you've never read that comic, the Green Lantern, like how they meet in the New 52, Green Lantern and Flash, it's really good. I'd highly recommend it. But Flash, I also think he's not that funny. Like, I think his jokes don't really work, except for in this picture. I'll put it in the video version, but it's... Darkseid uses his Omega beams on Superman, and it destroys everything around them. And Flash, instead of running away, decided to hide in the silhouette of Superman. And there's a picture of him with just creeping his eyes over Superman's shoulder. I thought that was a funny little bit. So... About Cyborg, let's talk about some Cyborg stuff. I thought that actually seeing him before his transformation, like as Victor Stone, I thought that was really cool.
Victory Stone.
Victory. I like because for me, like, the Cyborg story doesn't really hit as hard if you don't get a feeling of what he thought his life would be like. But this one does a really good job of that, and I think. This is kind of unspoken, I'm sure it's true, but I think you and I are probably comparing this origin to his origin in Young Justice.
Which is slightly different.
It's quite different, honestly.
Well, Young Justice and Doom Patrol, which I recently just finished watching, which I think is amazingly done. You
finished it?
Yeah.
Dang. We'll talk about that after.
I blasted through that one.
Dude, Doom Patrol's great. Please watch it. No, but I like seeing Cyborg from before. I think you're right, and this is a very like simple version of his origin because they don't have a lot of time to get into it. Yeah, it was really
quick.
I also I really like anytime Green Lantern got the crap beat out of him because this is a good moment for Hal Jordan where he learns to be less of a a-hole.
Yeah, he's extremely cocky the whole movie. He's like, I'm Green Lantern. I can do this. Like when Darkseid first shows up, he's like, you guys can just watch. I got this. And then literally, I love because Darkseid hits him, and then the parademons just start punching him on the ground. It's so funny.
I think that's the best joke in the movie, actually. It's at least my favorite.
It's really funny.
Green Lantern thinks he's all bad, and he gets beat up by a bunch of parademons. Okay, so Green Lantern, and their whole thing is that Green Lantern and Batman find a mother box, and they're like, well, it's alien. Let's go talk to an alien. They go find Superman.
And they fight. That fight scene I actually thought was really good.
I think all of the fights are great because they go through the entire city. They show how big of a scale all of this action is. Which honestly, and this is a complaint I almost never have for anything superhero movie related. I thought there might have been a little too much action, not enough character moments.
Okay.
Because especially in the finale,
especially for the first movie, like of this universe, that you kind of need to know a little more.
Yeah, so but I like a lot of people's stuff. Like you only see Superman as Superman, you don't see him as Clark Kent or anything. But basically, Superman beats up how Green Lantern and Batman through the city, and he's about to land a last blow. And Green Lantern's like, dude, Batman, he's gonna kill us. And then he's like, no, he's like, you're bruised, but you don't kill Clark. And then he stops
Dead in his tracks. Then he uses X-ray vision. He's like, Bruce Wayne? And then Hal Jordan's like, who's Bruce Wayne?
I wrote in my notes, Batman playing his less card and exposing Superman's identity is a thug move. And it is a thug move. But it seems more Batman for me that, because Batman, they say he has his own satellite. So how he found out that Superman was Clark Kent is that he just tracked him for probably weeks. And I think that feels a lot more Batman than wanting to like beat him up.
That's true. And they kind of mentioned just that, where Hal's like, have you ever met him before? He's like, no, I've never seen him, but I've been studying him a lot. And
I like the idea that Batman wouldn't like react and be like, I gotta beat up Superman. It's like, or you can realize he just goes to the same farmhouse every single day and that's his parents and he's just a regular guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's a more realistic interaction between Batman and Superman than the whole he needs to die thing. Yeah. And also I think that shows that Batman wouldn't confront Superman because he actually believes he's doing things right. It's just that he's like, it's in his territory. He does what he wants. But that being said, I think Batman in this movie is a little too agreeable to the whole teamwork thing. He just immediately knows how to work well. And like, he's obviously had one Robin before, but I don't think that's enough for Batman to be like, I'm ready to be on this team. I'm going to lead it.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because they do work very well as a team. And then the ending is kind of like, oh, we're not even friends. We're not a team. Why do they think we're a team? Well, it's like, well,
you work together.
I was pretty convinced.
Yeah, I don't get, maybe I wasn't understanding. But I think, honestly, one of the hearts of the team is actually Cyborg. Because you get to see him as a football player. And his dad, to give you a little very simple Cyborg origin. Cyborg, he's playing high school football. His dad is like, I'm too focused on science. And then Victor, he's like, come on, Dad, like, chill, freak out. And then he blows up in a lab. And then his dad's like, I'm going to save him. And then Cyborg's like, well, this isn't a good life because I'm a robot man. But you know what? At least you tried, Dad. And then they reconcile. That's Cyborg's whole story, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent with every version, just slightly different.
The best version is definitely in Doom Patrol. It's very
emotionally driven.
In our opinion, at least. So something I noticed is that Victor is playing. He looks like he's like 30.
No, that's
what,
because I was watching it. I was like, wait, is it like college football, NFL?
No, but later he talks to his dad. He's like, so a bunch of scouts were there. He's like, you don't need
offer me full rides. I was like, what the?
Like, so you're in high school. So I was thinking, does that mean that Victor is playing? If Victor's playing in a huge high school stadium, he probably lives in Texas.
Probably.
And if he lives in Texas, in the DC universe, does that mean that Central City is in Texas? That's what I realized.
Central City's Dallas.
Yes, Dallas is Central. The Flash runs out of Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any superhero to claim that territory, it's probably the Flash, so he can get from one side to the other.
Yeah, well, I also think that Gotham is technically in, like, New Jersey.
Yeah, they had to travel a long way to get from one place to the other. Because I don't know. I was just like, there's no way he'd be in a football stadium that big if he wasn't in the South.
Because it was huge. Like, that was mostly the reason why I was confused that it was high school.
It looked like a college stadium.
Yeah, well, and, like, animation-wise, he looks exactly the same age as everyone else.
Yeah, and they're all full adults. I also wrote, Dr. Stone is terrible in this. He's not very... He doesn't even... Usually he has, like, a point. Like, you almost get where he's coming from.
Yeah, but this time he's like, why didn't you go to my game? He's like, I don't care.
He's like, I don't give a crap about your game.
Like, you're useless.
He's
worthless.
like, if people can fly and shoot lasers and go really fast,
what you can do is pointless.
It's nothing. So in Young Justice, I think Victor gets a little too mad about the whole, he's like, I'm so dad. He's like, I was trying to be there. He's like, no, but you didn't do it. And then he blows up and becomes cyborg. In this, I actually think he might actually be right. Like, he pulls the mother box out of a little thing that his dad's monitoring, and it blows up. And I'm like, you know what? He's not really out of line. Like, that was the last straw. He didn't get mad the entire time.
Yeah. Well, and it's so sad for Victor because he's always like, he's like, you only pay attention to your science projects and never to me. And then after the explosion and he's trying to fix Victor, he comes out and he's like, now you care about me now that I'm one of your science experiments too. And Silas, his dad, kind of just says yes, basically. I was like, what the?
I'm like, that's so mad. He's so bad.
Yeah, really
but
sucks.
So I was also just going to mention, I like the design of the mother boxes, and that goes into Cyborg's armor event, or his body, I guess. I like, because mother boxes create boom tubes, and boom tubes are portals. And I always thought, I was like, okay, it's cool if it creates a portal, but the mother box becomes the portal. I thought that was
I thought it was interesting. They're also bigger than, well, not really. They're bigger than the ones in Young Justice, but smaller than the ones in Justice League.
Well, and in the comic books, they're a cube, like a perfect cube, but they're like Rubik's Cube size. Like, they're not big at all.
Yeah. These ones are pretty decently sized.
Yeah,
I would say.
I just think it's cool. I like that. I like doing something different with that idea. I do have, most of these heroes I think are identified pretty well. Like, all of their personalities are pretty in line. There's only one that I had a problem with, and that's Superman. Because Superman, when the parademons come out of the mother box, like boom tube, it opens, Superman lasers them in half without even asking, like, are you sentient? Like, I am an alien, but because you look like a monster, I'm just going to murder you.
Well, I also thought that was really funny, going back to when Green Lantern and Batman talk. They get the mother box and they go to talk to Superman, and they're like, hey, this is alien in origin. He's like, I'm an alien, but I've never seen that before. Like,
that's
like, you just assume.
That's racist, dude.
No, that's what I was like. That's kind of racist. They just assume because he's alien, he knows everything about space.
See, in Harley Quinn, at least they made a joke about it. Like,
Yeah.
it was the same joke, actually.
But yeah, Superman spent his entire life on Earth.
Yeah,
so-
just because he's from, like, was born. That's like if you were born, like, in Mexico, but as soon as you turned 1, you moved to the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never went back because it blew up.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I just think he probably could have checked if they were, like, alive or not. So something I like about Cyborg's origin, because I think his technology, sometimes it's fully mother box, sometimes it's fully like Silas Stone made it. But this one's the parademon infection, which basically is the goo that turns you into a parademon, that's what got onto his body, and then he fused into the technology that his father had. So I think that does a good job of, like, showing
Combining
visually,
both.
like, as much as it's a torture that comes from this alien world, it's actually equally a torture from his dad. And in Doom Patrol, it's all from his dad.
It's all from his dad. So it's all his dad's fault.
Which makes it a more emotional story. But I think in the bigger universe, having it being both is a good idea.
Yeah. Whereas in Young Justice, it's also
just apocalypse technology.
Yeah.
And his dad's, like, constantly trying to help him. And he's just being like, freak you, Dad. So next up is Shazam. I think his suit looks good. I think it's very, like, Shazam the movie and this Shazam are visually
Basically
and
the same.
thematically exactly the same.
I will say Shazam's hood in this one, amazing. I like the Shazam hood.
I think that idea became really popular with the New 52. This was the launch of the hooded design.
Yeah.
Because Black Adam now has the same thing. I thought his first transformation was really cool because he's a parademon's pulling up in his backyard and he gets a baseball bat. He's like, come at me. Boom!
It was really cool.
It was awesome. That's a good introduction. And he does it right in front of his siblings, so now they know. But I noticed...
He's also kind of a punk, though.
Yeah, he's
Billy Batson.
But Billy's always a punk. Like,
yeah, but it was, like, annoying punk. I wanted to punch him really hard.
Well, he gets his comeuppance. That happens.
Yeah.
Also, I just wrote super speed punches, and I think I'm just going to write it in anything that it appears in, because that's one of our favorite Flash
fun.
moves is the super speed punch, which is just a... He does it twice in the movie. I counted. So super speed punches, just put a note for that. I noticed that the Justice League, as much as they're all these separate heroes, they all kind of act like kids, but Batman acts like a slightly more mature kid, like a teenager.
So like Stranger Things.
Yes. Stranger Things, no. Justice League ripped off Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just thought that was kind of funny. This is kind of a negative note, but I actually, upon a rewatch, this movie felt kind of really generic. Like, it's kind of beat for beat exactly the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, but with
Which
less
It
screen
also
time.
came out 2 years after Avengers did.
Well, and I think, I don't know
it's
if
very
the-
similar, like the Chitauri show up and then Loki shows up.
It's
and
a lot
he's
of
doing-
it's a lot of the bad guy opens portals and aliens come in and they have to fight all
they
the
have
aliens.
to fight all the aliens.
In fact,
and-
it's exactly that.
Yeah.
And they have to learn how to work together because they can't do it by themselves. And maybe it's just a little bit of superhero fatigue, but there's not a lot of nuance in this one. They get to a more nuanced point, but this is kind of looking back, sort of a generic start.
Yeah,
But
it also felt extremely short.
yeah, it
But
worked better
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
in the Avengers because the whole Coulson thing was their reason for coming together,
Mhm.
and they had backstories that you saw on screen. Like,
Yeah.
I think Avengers did it better, but this is just a. It's really just a launching point. I see it
Mhm.
as that, just getting us to go forward. We talked about it earlier when Green Lantern gets knocked over. I said he gets bee slapped by Darkseid and then gets beat up by the parademons. It's my favorite joke. But I really like that they all attack individually and Darkseid clears them out. Like,
Uh-huh.
he wipes the floor with them.
Deal with it without trying, basically. He's always that stuck-up guy with his hands behind his back. I love that.
No, it's cool. The only one that really gives him a run for his money is Superman. Will hit him pretty hard, but
Uh-huh.
he'll hit just as hard back.
Exactly.
There's a good bit where the Flash and Superman are running from the Omega beams. I think that I like that a lot
Mm-hmm.
because Barry, the Flash, he finds out how to utilize it to his like benefit. But he's like, I've never had to catch my breath. He's like, oh crap, Superman's not gonna make it. Superman gets hit by it. He can take the hit, but I thought it was just a fun little bit of using those characters in a fun way. Well, eventually, Hal Jordan breaks his arm. They all get beat up by Darkseid, and then they take Superman. Darkseid takes him back to Apocalypse.
Yeah, and they're like, we got to turn him into a parademon immediately, so then he'll be like a head parademon killing everyone.
And I don't know if it was intended that way, but really great foreshadowing to the future of the franchise.
Uh-huh. That's what I was saying. I was like, okay.
I didn't notice
No,
the
I was
first time.
like, this is hecka foreshadowing.
So keep that in mind. But Batman makes the speech to Hal, and I think it's a very simple speech, but coming from Batman, it seems like he basically says he's like, he goes over his origin really quickly, but basically what he's saying, he's like, I've been fighting crime because it's like my drive is vengeance. He's like, but this is bigger than all of us put together.
Mhm.
And I think he noticed that as soon as aliens were involved.
Yeah.
But Batman literally is like, let's work together. He's like, Hal, you and I are the only like normal people. We're next to
Yeah.
gods.
Exactly. Like
Which-
all the rest of them have powers. Green Lantern has his ring, which gives him power, and Batman's Batman.
Yeah. So it was a good. I thought it was a fun little speech, and then Batman just goes in civilian clothes and has them take him to Apocalypse.
Well, yeah, I also love in that speech, Batman takes off his mask to show how he's like, I am just a normal guy. He's like, I am Bruce Wayne. I'm rich, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Everyone's getting turned into parademons right now, and we have to save Superman because he's the only one strong enough that can actually take him out.
Well, and Batman revealing his identity also shows that he's like, look, he's like, I'm in it to win it. Like, I'm not, I have nothing left to hold back from you guys.
Exactly.
If they take over the world, it doesn't matter if people know I'm Batman.
Mhm.
So I think it was a good little speech, and then he goes to Apocalypse. So when I first saw this movie, I didn't really love Cyborg's design. On a rewatch, I actually like it a lot because it changes throughout the whole franchise.
Yeah.
It changes quite a bit. But it's very, like, his veins are blue and, like, the big clunky machinery gets a little bit smaller. I like it as a starter design. Like, for the purpose of this story, I thought it was really good. And the fact that they're like, well, it's adaptable technology. It will change, like, as time goes on.
Yeah.
So I liked it as a launching point for his other designs going forward. Okay. Yeah, I was just talking about the foreshadowing. Wonder Woman. So basically, Shazam, they make this whole plan, and Shazam just goes in to show off to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they're like, we got this. He's like, you do this, you do that. Basically, like in Avengers,
Yeah, they just
They're
play
like,
to their strengths.
Here's the plan, Hulk smash, blah, blah, blah. But then instead of that, like, Hawkeye would be like, all right, I got this.
and
then
go
he's-
up in the front and do it
yeah,
himself.
exactly.
Well, Shazam tries that, fails, and Wonder Woman decks him in the face.
Yeah,
Like,
hard. But he's like flies through like a wall and is on the ground.
she's like, you are like a soldier, not a child.
You're a warrior,
Act like
not a
one.
child. He's like, okay.
He's like,
she
all right.
digs me.
I thought it was because at that point you do want Shazam to get punched in the face, and Wonder
Uh-huh.
Woman does it for us hard.
Exactly.
Like it's
I was gonna say also Wonder Woman is also very cool in this movie.
Yeah, we haven't talked
She
about
doesn't
Wonder
have a
Woman.
lot of screen time, I guess, but she, like, when she first comes in, like she's visiting the White House and people are protesting the Wonder Woman because she's cost the United States like millions of dollars worth of property damage already. And I
It's-
think that's interesting that she like, her first entrance is people like protesting her, which is kind of comes back in the end. It's like all these heroes and vigilantes were kind of like a menace to society. Basically, they just blow stuff up.
yeah.
trying to
Nobody likes
save people.
superheroes in this universe so far.
Yeah, but because this was a world-ending event and they saved it, then it changed people's minds. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it, and I think Wonder Woman's good. I like her design a lot. She has like because she's very like a little even more USA than usual because she's all blue and
Yeah.
red and silver, basically red, white, and blue. I like that a lot.
Her hair's real long.
Real long. And she has, so this is a little bit of foreshadowing for the future, but she always wears it in like a ponytail clip. And there's only one time where that clip like busts and it's time to throw down. It's in one of my favorites in this series. And we'll talk about it when it comes up, but it's an awesome moment. Just know that for the whole series, she pretty much has this super long ponytail. So let's see. So I said basically after rewatching it, I know Wonder Woman punching Shazam is this moment, but in the original comic, it's Aquaman instead of Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
But they have an Aquaman movie, which we'll talk about eventually. And I really think you could have just cut Shazam; it would have been fine. You don't
Yeah.
need 7 of like, you can have more Justice League members come in. Definitely Green Lantern, definitely Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash.
Uh-huh.
But anybody else, Cyborg is like kind of the heart of the story, so sure him.
We keep him in, yeah.
But get rid of Shazam and give his stuff to the Flash. I wanted more Flash stuff.
Mhm.
Let's see. So they end up, their plan is that they're gonna blind Darkseid, and then they're gonna send him back to Apocalypse. And they do that, and Wonder Woman stabs one of his eyes out, and his blood looks like tomato
It's-
sauce
yeah,
covered
it's-
noodles.
Yeah,
Like,
it's goo. It's
it's-
not like liquid blood. It's goo.
it's chunky blood. It's nastiness. I like when they're working. So I like that the whole point they're like, we need to work as a team. But when they do that, it still takes a while for them to get Darkseid to actually beat him.
Exactly.
And I think that shows just kind of the that even as you work together, you need to continually like keep pushing forward. Wonder Woman stabs out one of his eyes with her Amazon sword, which makes sense to me. And then they're like, "All right, Flash, get the other
Flash,
eye."
get the other one. Which you would assume that like he would grab Wonder Woman's sword from her, but he runs to like a firefighter, grabs a crowbar, and then jams it into Darkseid's eye.
And I get that he's a super speed. I get that it's fast, but if Darkseid can walk through a building, there's no way a crowbar goes into his eye and doesn't like bend. So probably should have just taken the sword. I thought that was kind of silly.
I thought it was really funny.
It's funny, but like, why? There's no reason. Let's see. So yeah, I mentioned it before, but like Superman's a little too edgy in this one. Like he doesn't seem like he stands for something that great. Maybe that's why Batman respects him and doesn't mess with him because he's kind of just as broody as the rest of them. He also barely talks, and he's played by Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, one of our favorite voice actors.
I
of
didn't
all
even
time.
know that until that was the last note I wrote.
Yeah, and Sean Astin in this movie plays Shazam, also,
I forgot. I literally just forgot.
which is really weird because you literally do not notice at all.
Yeah, well, and so basically this all gets to the point where they send Darkseid back to Apocalypse, and they destroy all of the mother boxes, which in Justice League, the live action movie, the Zack Snyder's Justice League, which you haven't seen, but basically their whole plot is that they want to unify the mother boxes so it'll scorch the earth, and Darkseid can come and rule the ashes or whatever. Which, first of all, that's not even like remotely how they work.
Yeah.
And second of all, if they still open boom tubes, but they don't like
Boom.
they don't boom. And why would Darkseid just not bring his army through the tube? But this, I think, is a lot better because like they destroyed the mother boxes. So if Darkseid wanted to attack again, he'd have to literally just make the trek across the galaxy, literally with his army, which I would. That makes sense for him to be introduced in the beginning and then eventually
show up,
come back at the
later,
end.
Yeah.
Like he could have been traveling the entire franchise.
Yeah.
That just made sense to me logically, but that's pretty much the end of it. What would you say overall were your thoughts, like looking back on everything?
I thought it was good. I do think the similarities to Avengers was not necessary. They could have done it slightly differently. I watched it with a group of people too. Them as Marvel fans, they're like, this is a ripoff, blah, 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 kind of hating on it.
And that's the thing is that we get it. Like it's not like
Yeah.
it has the similarities, and it's really just a less like has less substance than that story.
Yeah.
But I think it does have good moments, and basically, like if you were watching through these and you pretty much know who the Justice League is, you can probably skip this one.
That's true.
All you have to know is
actually.
that Darkseid attacked, but then they beat him, and because Darkseid becomes pretty important he's in the first movie, and then he's
And
the
the
villain of
very
the
last
last
one.
movie. So
Which is actually awesome.
it's pretty neat, and he's it's a very different story and presence in the next version. But basically, I would say that this. I don't really like the terminology of like peak and mid, but this is a very okay movie. Like I like it, but I probably don't have to watch it again.
Yeah, it's fine. It was exactly how I remembered it. I probably didn't have to watch it again to do this
Yeah,
review.
probably, but it was nice to revisit it. I like the cyborg stuff a lot more.
Yeah.
And I always love Green Lantern, so just seeing him is great.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's gonna conclude talking about Justice League War, but we are gonna do another shout out real quick to Sam Rollins, who did the channel art. So as of the time of recording this, yesterday I uploaded the channel art to the YouTube channel, and
Okay.
it's the Google like channel picture.
Perfect.
Looks great, so awesome. Thanks again for that. It's also gonna be in our first episode. We didn't record any video.
Yeah, it'll just be audio, so it'll just be that.
It'll be that
like,
picture, but
probably like 99% of the time.
Yeah, we'll have some pictures for the last segment, but for the most part, we'll have video every other time. But that time we didn't. We were just getting off our feet. So, and
We're talking like they didn't watch the first episode first.
that's true, actually. Just because it's not out for us
This
yet.
is the third episode, but we haven't released any of them yet.
Yeah, shout out to Sam Rollins. I'm gonna give another attempt at the Instagram. It's basically every week I try to say it and I can't do it right.
Let me try.
Okay.
Autumnal_Arcana.
I have to say it. I can't not say it.
Autumnal.
Autumnal_Arcana. Again, there will be a link for that. Please support her. She does great work. It's really awesome. Also, at the time of recording this, we had the original recording for the theme song, and then I lost it. I deleted it.
Dumb.
So we're going to get a couple of different versions. By the time you watch this, it will have the theme song and the picture to start out. But shout out again to Jacob and for his patience and helpfulness in getting this all set up. We appreciate it a lot. So today, we're going to go into our suit deconstruction like we did in our first episode. I was talking with Liz, and I was like, Liz, give me some suits. I wasn't feeling a lot of inspiration. I was like, who do we want to do? And she mentioned like the Hulk. And I was like, all right, not a lot of different suits, but a lot of different, it's a lot of different designs. It's more of the Hulk's design.
The design,
overall.
okay. Not just what shade of purple is he wearing that day.
Yes. And there is some slight differences, but after looking into it, there's actually a lot of stuff I really liked. So we're going to hop into that.
Awesome.
This is the segment where I pick suits to deconstruct, and Ben doesn't know what they are or what pictures I've chosen.
What superhero will do what pictures, yeah.
So and all the pictures will be in the video version, but we'll also describe it for audio as well. So the first one is Eric Bana from, I think that's his name, from the first Hulk movie.
Hulk.
The Hulk, which, by the way, very unpopular opinion, I have heckin' nostalgia for that movie. I watch it all the time. I actually really like it. Hulk running around, I think any superhero thing set in canyons is awesome because that's the only cool thing that we can see in Texas. So I like a lot of this movie, even though time has not been great to it. But what do you think about this design? He's very green, very tall,
like neon green.
He's got the purple undies, like it's very classic Hulk, but he's got this kind of lumpy face. I only have one picture here. But what do you think about this? Because
Actually, I think it's good. It doesn't look bad.
no,
at all.
I think a lot of people complained that it's so green, it's cartoony. It's like it's a story about a guy who turns into a big green Shrek.
Yeah, but it's
like,
also like, in my mind, it's the same people that are complaining like, why isn't like these suits more comic accurate?
that's probably true. Either way, like he looks like he's kind of made out of like Play-Doh.
Green Play-Doh.
But I don't mind it, and I think all of his powers and scenes are really cool. I like all the action in this movie.
I think as long as it is consistent and like is fine, I guess.
well, he doesn't really have to look like a person. It's more of this monster thing. So next up is the Incredible Hulk. How long has it been since you've seen this movie? It's been a long time for me.
I've seen it once.
Me too. We all probably ought to rewatch it because I'm sure it'll have quite more substance than we think. But
I don't know.
so these first two Hulks, I know the second one's in the MCU, but this was like, I like that they kind of were like, so Bruce Banner looks like these actors. The Hulk looks nothing like Bruce Banner. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
But so the original Hulk, he was a lot bigger, taller, wider.
Mhm.
This one is slimmer, shorter, veinier.
He's a very veiny, yeah.
I have to say, this is probably also an unpopular opinion, but I preferred the Play-Doh design to this one. This one's a little too...
I feel like the Play-Doh design is more realistic, though, for how big he is.
Well, I think for how big, but like this one's very veiny, and if you see a lot of the shots of his face, I don't actually love how it looks. And it obviously wasn't iconic enough to keep that design.
That's true.
So I'm not I don't like the Incredible Hulk. He just has the ripped pants, but I don't like really the face, the hair. It's just not
He's
my
very
favorite.
veiny. Like, I don't know, like when like his chest is real tight, like you could see the
muscles,
lines.
Well, because he's very. I think the first one's a little too pudgy. Like his muscles don't feel real enough. This one's muscles. He's a little too lean.
Yeah.
Like he's really lean. But then that takes us into the Avengers when we see this Hulk.
It's kind of a mixture of the two.
I think this is the best one, in my opinion. Like, first of all, they got Mark Ruffalo's face. They made the Hulk look like him.
like Mark Ruffalo, yeah.
Also, I think this is some of the best visual effects Marvel's ever done. Like, they're like he has like a flat muscle, but when he flexes, you see his veins pop. You see the muscles. You see his hair. Like,
So they got a good balance of the first one and the second one.
I think this might be one of my favorite computer CGI visual effects of all time.
Dang.
I really think that like I can't get enough of looking at like his chest move, his chest hair, how it changes. Like, and the thing is that because he doesn't look human, but it looks real. Like the picture that should be on screen right now is of him running through like the glass and stuff. It just looks so real to me. Like they have the blemishes on his skin. I really love this design. And the ripped pants is like, he's only been ripped pants so far. But like the hair, the face, I really like it. I also like that he doesn't talk hardly at all. He just roars. That's a neat choice.
Yeah, in this picture he's like yelling or roaring, whatever, and his chest is more tight.
You can
like
see
in real
his
life.
neck is huge, like his shoulders,
Like his muscles are
everything.
tensing up like it would in real life.
Now, I think this design is actually only rivaled by Age of Ultron's design, which it just ups the detail. Like the picture that is going to be showing up right now is that he is very he's making an angry face. He's flexing his neck. You can see the veins in his neck, but you can also see the strain in his forehead, his stubble, his teeth. Like it looks like a real person.
Yeah.
Like a real monstrous person. This next shot is of him looking at Black Widow. Like, just insane the amount of detail they could capture. I like that they made like his bridge between his nose to his lip is really big. He looks very animalistic. I love it.
Kind of more caveman-ish.
Yeah. I really like this design. And I have a Hot Toys picture just to show, for this, since he was like a regular Avenger, they made him stretchy pants. So he just
Yeah.
has sweatpants that will stretch into his Hulk version. I think it's cool to give him a suit that way. Next up is Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok.
So we're looking at Gladiator Hulk. Thoughts on Gladiator Hulk? What do you think?
I think what we talked about last time about Thor, it's kind of similar idea because it's from the same place. I do really like this a lot, though. I like Hulk wearing more clothes.
I like him with the paint. I like the armor.
I like the loincloth,
The loin is
the
good.
boots.
I will say in this movie, his roar is very could be improved upon.
Computerized.
Well, it's just like because this was the first. So I don't know if you knew this, but originally for the first two movies, anytime Hulk talked, it was a mixture of Mark Ruffalo's voice and the guy who played the Hulk in the Hulk TV show.
Oh, okay.
That was painted green.
Interesting.
It was a mix of their voices. In this
I
one,
did not know.
Ragnarok starts and it's all him doing the
Just
voice.
Mark Ruffalo.
And let me just say, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. I love him. I think he's probably the one of like next to well, I think all the Avengers are casted well, but he's one of my favorites because he's such a little like kind of a wimpy
Like
dude.
a weaselly guy. Yeah.
I like his dad voice. I think it's funny, but I believe when he becomes the Hulk that he is this like full on monster. Like I think that's really cool. I think he does a great job. That being said, when he does the voice for the Hulk in this one, it's a little less roary monstery because it's just him.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, it sounds a little more whiny.
Which
than
makes sense because it's
sincere,
just
yeah.
his voice, but I would have liked just make his roars louder. That's it. I like his voice otherwise. I think
Yeah,
it's
like-
great.
Jurassic World level roar.
Do it. He's a monster. Like let him. But I liked his armor. I liked his weapons. Next up is Infinity War. So at the end of Ragnarok, Hulk doesn't wear the armor. He's back to just his torn pants.
Mhm.
But then Hulk doesn't come out in Infinity War, and so I have the Hulk Buster 2 that Bruce Banner rides in, which is kind of, I guess, sort of cheating because it's technically a Iron Man
Yeah.
suit. But what do you think about this suit?
I think it served its purpose.
I think it served its purpose. Upon a look again, I think it actually looks. All of the Iron Man suits are great. Like
Uh-huh.
I will say that. This one just looks so good. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a CGI complicated Hulkbuster, but like they didn't have to make it look that good, and
Uh-huh.
they did.
I think the original Hulkbuster was also a lot more chunky. I'm just going off memory right now.
Yeah, this one's a little bit slimmer, but it's just as tall. It has the
Uh-huh.
same mass. It's just more streamlined.
Yeah, everything's a little like it looks tighter. It looks more sleek. Looks like Tony put a little bit more thought into this one.
Well, and I like it. I like the idea too that like Bruce Banner has to use
Mhm.
it to, because Hulk won't come out.
You know what? I also want to know where he got it from because Tony wasn't there. He was on Titan.
He was on Titan.
So did
I
he
think-
he just like go pick it up. Or
I
what?
guess he went to his house and he knew the code and just took his new Hulkbuster.
Asked Rhodey or something. Actually, it probably was Rhodey.
He probably
Rhodey
did
was
ask
there.
Rhodey. He's like, give me that. Okay. I like it. I like it, though. I will say, however, there is one bit with not the greatest green screen where he pops his head out. And then we have a couple pictures here. The pictures, they look fine, but in motion, it just, the effect doesn't really work. Like, it's a very obviously CGI suit
Looks a little
with his
silly.
head poking out. So that's my only complaint, really, with the Hulkbuster suit. Now we're on to what a lot of fans are upset about. which is
Professor Hulk.
Smart Hulk, Smoke,
Smoke.
as I'll call him. What are your thoughts on this one?
I don't know. I think it was as a good idea because it is comic actor, obviously, except for Grey Hulk's the smart one. But anyways, I'll probably get canceled for saying that. Anyways,
You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right.
I like it. I like that it's a mixture of Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And like I said earlier, I like when Hulk wears more clothes. I think it's funny. And I think it's also easier CGI wise to put clothes on it.
It is funny to see the Hulk in a cardigan and a V-neck. Like I think that's hilarious. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but in this scene, he's making like enormous burritos,
Uh-huh.
like with a whole like salad.
Yeah,
bowl
he's
of
like,
eggs.
come on, grab some stuff. Go get some.
I like Professor Hulk in this movie. I think he's
Mhm.
actually and the effects. So here's the thing. I'm kind of have some mixed feelings because they completely redesigned his face to be more Mark
Human,
Ruffalo, his face. They scanned it like it was all new technology. I think in some, like in static shots and in these bits, I think they
It
look,
looked
great.
really good, yeah.
In some shots, I don't think they look the best, honestly. I think it's a little hard. It's becoming so close to the human face that it's starting to
distracting.
look wrong. It's starting to
Yeah,
enter
yeah.
uncanny valley. But if you look at the details and stuff, like he's got his like gray hairs, he's got a lot more stubble on this
I
version.
like the wrinkles too. It's not just like the cartoon wrinkles, but it's just like one here and one here.
Yeah, no, and like look at you can see his pores. Like
Yeah.
it's insane the amount of detail that they can do. I think sometimes it looks great, sometimes it doesn't look the best.
I also think the glasses on Hulk is funny.
It is funny because he had to order enormous glasses.
Huge glasses.
That's hilarious.
It's like when Shaq orders shoes, the Hulk had to do that with glasses.
I'm a fan of that. And then this is just a picture of the Hulk suit. It's the Hot
His
Toys one.
jumpsuit.
Do you know where the inspiration for this suit comes from? I've never heard it confirmed,
no.
but I know it to be true. Is that Mark Ruffalo's had to wear this dumb motion capture suit for all of these movies. And so they designed it based off of his mocap suit.
Mocap suit. That's awesome, actually.
Because if you look at pictures, it's the same exact suit.
Uh-huh.
They just colored this. I don't know if I love the shirt. Like Hulk,
The pants are cool.
the pants are cool, but like put some shoes on or like I don't get the exposed toes doesn't seem necessary to
Also,
me.
it's yeah, because it's only half of his foot is covered.
Yeah.
that are attached to his pants.
Well, he's got to hold it on somehow. But also, this is just a little Easter egg, but like it's supposed to be an H,
For Hulk.
this symbol on
For
his
Hawkeye.
chest. I could have used a little more purple, honestly, a little too gray for me.
I agree.
But I like Hulk. I would have done shirtless though. If I'm being honest, if you got the muscles, show them
Yeah.
off. And then so the final one that we're talking about is going to be some shots from. So at this time of recording, She-Hulk has not come out yet. We're going to look at some designs for She-Hulk and Hulk. And let me just start by saying, I try to approach superhero costumes, any character designs, and anything. I'm at the point where I will give it the benefit of the doubt because it may not look visually. It's like, the whole thing is like, it's not comic accurate. It's not like the comics. It's like, well, if it serves the story, then that's what the design is for.
Exactly.
And so I would prefer it to serve a story purpose than to just be comic accurate for no reason.
That's
so-
why Hawkeye never will have a comic accuracy.
I mean, they sort of got one now, but
No.
sure, I refuse. Didn't happen. But my whole thing is that I will go in very open minded, and it is their responsibility as the filmmaker, TV show maker to prove to me, do they need this suit or do they not? Does Daredevil need the yellow in his suit or does he not? And if they can tell me why, I'll accept it. But until then, I'm just gonna look at it as it is now. And so have you seen this little like clip trailer for It's a
Like
new
when
one that
they're,
just
like,
came out.
training?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Honestly, I
Probably.
watched it. I got it in all the way high quality, the highest one that YouTube would give me. And the CGI looks really good. And I think there's been a lot of She-Hulk issues. Like,
Especially when the first trailer came out, it was a little rough.
well, let's just start by saying Hulk looks good.
Hulk
He
looks like he always did.
Yeah, he looks the same as before. He looks good. So She-Hulk, I forget the guys that do. I really should do more research and bring it up. I was like, I remember this thing, but I don't know where it came from. The guys that do the visual effects reviews on YouTube, they're great. I love their videos.
the ones that are like true VFX artists.
Yes,
rating. Okay.
that's those guys.
Those videos.
They talked about She-Hulk, and they opened my eyes a little bit because they said they're like, the reason that She-Hulk's CGI might look worse than the Hulk's is because with the Hulk you have a lot of veins, you have blemishes, you have stubble. Men have a lot more identifiable small features, where women have a lot softer features, and so it's harder to show that. Because all they have is like pretty, relatively clear pores, like no facial hair. It's hard to show that. And so that's why the video condensing of the She-Hulk trailer makes her look less like Fiona from Shrek. And I won't, in some shots she does look exactly like Fiona. But in other shots, she looks, in this clip that they show of the CGI with just them two in the woods or whatever, she looks so good. Like, it really does look real as the Hulk. It's different because she's a woman. But basically, I think we can hop into the whole She-Hulk CGI thing after we see the
After
entire
we watch
show.
it, yeah.
But for the time being, we're just going to we're going to finish off by talking about her costume. What do you think so far? First of all, this is something I noticed through the whole She-Hulk trailer. I am so jealous, but like getting gamma powers gave her like 2.5 inches of volume in her hair at all times. And give me those powers. I don't need to be green. I just need the volume. That would be
to
awesome.
look like Karamo from Queer Eye.
Dude, that's like, dude, if you can get a whole 3 inches of volume, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. I do think the suit is actually very awesome.
I like the suit a lot.
I think this is what they should have done for the Hulk.
Lot more,
Awesome.
more
The one
black
that we
and
were
purple.
talking about, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Less
and
gray.
white is her thing is that she has white in her suit, and I
Uh-huh.
think they did a really good job of incorporating that into hers. Also, I like that it's short sleeve. I like that it's not like too overly sexualized. Like it feels fitting
Mhm.
for. It's like a workout outfit, really.
Yeah.
So I have in the notes, it says never Google She-Hulk shoes. If you're thinking of Googling it, and first of all, if you don't know what you're getting into, don't do it. If you do, you're nasty. Because I had to sift through so many pictures of She-Hulk's feet just to find, because I just wanted to show the whole suit, and she's wearing like Adidas shoes. I'm like, oh, I should include that. Had to go through freaking had to delete my history after because there's too many freaking She-Hulk busting out of her shoes. It's gross. It's freaking gross. People who make those images, you're nasty. Okay, you're nasty. I was just looking for the shoes. That's it. Never Google it. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, you are better living in ignorance because it is not worth the research.
Don't. Just look at the image we will put in the
We will
video.
put in the video. She's just wearing white Adidas. I think that's a neat inclusion.
Yes.
I
There are
think-
high tops, I think is interesting.
Fire sneaks are awesome. Like it feels natural to her whole workout suit. Like I get it. So that being said, that is going to conclude our suit deconstruction. And if there's more within She-Hulk, we might come back and just do a little
Yeah.
add-on part 2 or whatever. But as of right now, that's going to be it for today. I got really heated at the end just because I really had to sift through just these terrible images that I hated and I never want to see again. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening. If you're on YouTube, be sure to give us a like and a sub. More stuff is to come. I've been having quite a few ideas for just standalone videos.
Yeah.
Which those could be coming in
we're-
the future.
We'll probably do in the future. This was just a better start for us.
Well, and I like the podcast format. It's a lot easier
Uh-huh.
to edit and more fun as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're going to be launching, well, at this point you've already probably watched the first 2 episodes, but YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, everything. If you like our podcast, give us a rating. If you want to see more, please let us know. Like if there's something you want us to talk about, if you want, more movies, more lifestyle, like our opinions on stuff.
Yeah, we'll do our best to actually do your suggestions.
Now that'll go as high on the list as we can put it, just because like we want to be able to have our audience community involved.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's it. Do you have anything else that you want to close with before we finish off today?
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks.
for
Yes.
listening.
Listening, watching, being with us on this journey to stardom.
To stardom. Yeah. And also, this may be the only time that we record in this space.
Yeah.
I really like it, but, and if we look off to the camera, there's a video monitor.
Yeah, that's
there.
why we're always looking over here.
I'm trying my best to look at the camera, but we will be in different spaces, different towns, different places, but we will be sure to make that content
Yeah.
for you. It's all for you.
Yeah,
So,
probably some of the next videos will be on Zoom because I'll be in Texas for a little bit.
yeah, but again, if there's anything that you want or you need, let us know. We will fill that need. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Peace out. Namaste.
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 Nam nasty.
Nom nom.
No, no.